Hello, my friends. If you have any questions, you can start typing them in at any time. I'm going to talk for a few minutes, so for starters. And then when I'm fairly complete with my notes here, then we'll do questions one at a time. And I just had a donut, and I can tell that there's some sugar there. Excuse me? Okay. So friends, hello. I hope you're all good and very good. We sent out a survey to our entire mailing list. Our entire mailing list is over 1,500 people. There are about 250 people that are active in the church, however, at this point. Of those 250, we average around 175 people that open up the mailings that come to you on Tuesday and Friday, which is a fairly high percentage. If we have, more than 10% of the people of the mailing list, total mailing list, that are actively engaged, that's very good. Very often it's 3%. So you're interested, and you're out there, and you're looking, and you're participating, and I hope that that's great for you. We did send out a survey, and there was a very high response to that as well. That out of the usual 170 folks that open these things, and at last count it was around 130 responded. So thank you very, very much. That's a high level of engagement, even though it did only take 1 minute to do the survey, because I timed myself twice. But thank you for doing it, because most people just let those things go. This is a very, very important time. What we have learned, first piece of information, and this won't be a surprise to anybody that comes to the church regularly. The first piece of information that we have is that 80% of us are over 55. 80% of us are over 55. If I was going to parse that out a little bit more, even though we did not ask, that would mean about 70% of us are 65 or better, which is a high-risk age. I'm 67 myself. So if 70% of us are over 65, we know at least 80% of us are over 55. And the mayor's plan says at least to the end of phase 3, and then the most recent update on the mayor's plan is that we wait 28 days of no increase in phase 3 before we go to phase 4. We're talking about a long time before it is reasonable. I don't want to use the word safe, before it's reasonable for anyone who has any cofactors, any conditions, or of a certain age to come to an inside place, no matter how few people there might be. It's going to be a while. You know, because I know that based on the survey that we took, I got a pretty good indication that you are following current information. And you all know that we have moved back to phase 2. So we're not in phase 3. We've moved back to phase 2 and won't be going forward until there's a downward trend and it sustains at least for 2 weeks, and there's an upward trend. I look at the state facts every day, hospital occupancy, the percentage of ICU beds that are available. I check in with these things every day, as well as the statistics in the New York Times, which has global and state-by-state information. It's an amazing resource. We have an abiding care for those who are most vulnerable. That is one of my personal highest values. An abiding care for those who are most vulnerable. If there is something that you think we ought to be doing, I would be intrigued to hear from anybody about any idea. If there's something that you're willing to do to help create an experience, then I'm certainly interested in hearing about that as well, because there's one group that's meeting. They're spaced safely. The men's group meets outdoors, not inside, but outdoors, more than 6 feet apart, where they have their continued book study. The grounds are available for such a thing as that. Some of you came to play golf a couple of weeks ago, which was a blast. As simple as it looked, it was extremely effortful on my part. I can't, personally, I'm working 2 full-time jobs. Because David Gumina left in March, and he had been out sick for 3 months. And so pretty much I've been doing his job as campus administrator, where there's lots going on all the time in terms of construction, repair, maintenance, upkeep. So I've been doing his job and mine, such as it is, really since November. If you want to do something, reach out and let us know. And if it's reasonable and safe, absolutely. Let's talk about it. But in terms of any interior, inside activity for our programs and our church, it's going to be a while. And I don't want to complain, but it hurts me a lot. This is interesting. I know that we're being of service. I feel good about how we can meet some needs, but this is not what I signed on for. And I want to share just a few ideas before I'm complete. And that one of the things that I've really appreciated about this moment is it has me thinking very deeply about church, in quotation marks. What is the experience of church? Some people have said, well, I don't know why we can't come to church. You can go to the grocery store. It's not remotely the same experience. For me, and I use these expressions all the time, that my spirituality is frankly pretty left-brained. I really like principle. I get it. I can work with that. I'm not very high on the woo-woo side of spirituality. But this I understand, that we have a soul, and if you want to use the word psyche, that's what soul means in Greek. The psyche has special needs, which can only be met in what we call church. Church is happening when our guard is down at the level of mind and body. If you want to say heart and soul, you can say that, that's fair. But historically, when we come to church and we receive welcome, it's an open-hearted welcome. And what's so special about our church is that, we don't have rules, and we say it's a get-to, not a have-to religion. The people that have a have-to religion are worshiping, and from what I see and read and experience, it's bleak. For me, it would have nothing to do with Unity of Nashville. And so church is happening when I am completely available and I'm here without any concern and any fear. And to the degree that we have to suit up to protect each other, the most vulnerable, which is required, my heart tells me, you don't have to agree with me. My heart tells me that church doesn't happen in that environment. And that's what makes me sad. That's what makes me sad, is that I am missing a key component of what is most meaningful to me. And what is most meaningful to me is the proximity of you. Because this ain't a TV show. This is not. That, again, is a different thing. But for me, when church is happening, it's a state of utter defenselessness. Because as it says in the Course in Miracles, is that our only safety or our only security lies in our defenselessness. And so, frankly, I feel grateful that I've had an experience where it has been articulated in my mind about what is important to me as an individual. I will also, again, thank for those of us, you who have not experienced any loss of income at this time, because praise God, maybe you're on a pension or whatever it is, it's none of my business. But thank you for your continued giving. It is critically important that this ministry stay strong. Critically important that we are here, that we are sound, and that when things start to change, and this will be, as the board wanted me to share with you, this is not date-driven, this will be data-driven. It'll be driven by the metrics of when it will be safe. And it will be, not if, it will be. But it won't be on any of our time schedules or at my convenience. Darn it. I thought I was the boss of everything. Alas, I'm not. Again, I want to remind you that Reverend Anna Schaus wrote that churches are not closed. It's the buildings that are not open. When people equate buildings being closed in order to stop the spread of a deadly disease with the church being closed, it says they don't quite understand what church is. It has nothing to do with the buildings, because we value each other, we practice safe behavior, we stay physically distanced so that when we physically come back together, no one is missing. And that surely is my deepest prayer. So thank you for answering the survey. It was quite enlightening for me. The comments that we received in the comment section were especially fascinating in that it appeared that no one who commented, and there were 40 comments, out of 125 responses, there were about 40 comments, and I thought that was a very high response as well. But 2 of the more articulate comments were from people with small children, so they are young moms and dads, like 30-something, 40, and they are not in a hurry to come back either. That surprised me. I wouldn't have anticipated that at all. I would not have anticipated that. Some of you might ask, this will be my last comment, some of you might ask, why can't we have church in the parking lot? And, bless your heart, I don't know how to say this really kindly, but I'm not willing to do that. There's nothing at all that's church-like about sitting in cars. For me, it doesn't address the need to be together, and we do not have the gear to do that. We do not have the manpower to do, I was going to say, to pull off a stunt like that. Okay, that's the way I kind of feel about it. It's kind of a stunt. We don't have the gear. I can't make it. No, it's not church. And I don't have much more to say about that. I feel way more comfortable with a level of authenticity and the relationship, even if it's me to our musicians and to our tech crew who is still here with me making this happen. It's meaningful. These relationships are meaningful, and the presence is meaningful that they're willing to do this. But to do something outside, I just can't get at any level of my being, It feels like it's sort of a parade type of energy, and that's not church for me. So I beg you, if you have strong feelings about that, to forgive me, or I will beg you to forgive me if you have strong feelings that we ought to be doing that. But we will continue doing this for as long as it's required, and quite happily so, because we are meeting a need, and that feels great. And we're getting more prayer requests than we've ever gotten, and I am especially thrilled with that. So, fellas, are there any questions there?
There is one. Well, first, Randy says he's happy to help organize an outdoor meeting.
Okay, Randy, thank you. Randy Cook is willing to help organize an outdoor meeting of some kind. So you and I will talk about that, Randy, during the week. Thank you.
And the only question right now is, Lola Potter says, do we need to figure out how to get younger people into the church?
Do we need to figure out how to get younger people into the church is a question. Thanks for asking that, Lola. The younger people, the parents of the younger people aren't that interested in coming back. If you mean in the long term, all long-term ideas are not on hold, but are yet to be revealed. I speak to one-on-one at least a dozen ministers every week in different parts of the country, as well as I'm very involved with the Unity organization and home office. And, we're going to learn a lot about what will be expected or what will be useful when we resume in-person gathering. But the recommendations right now are to not have young children in church when we do resume. This is the current recommendation because young children cannot be held responsible for safe distancing, etc. And I understand that. However, we'll see. I think here's what I've been sharing with other ministers. I do believe that when we resume, it will be as if we are pioneering a brand new ministry from the get-go. I am doing everything that I can in my own mind and heart to let go of any use of the word normal, of any use of the phrase the way it used to be, because I don't think that's going to be applicable for quite a while. Especially using the word normal. Nobody has any idea about anything. Even though we do seem to feel that there are jillions of churches in Tennessee that are open, the attendance is not sparse, but it's a fraction of what it was. And even the big hip churches that we would think, because they're, why ever we would think that, like Crosspoint TV, Crosspoint Churches, when it has 5 campuses, they're only meeting digitally. They're not meeting in person. Big church down the corner, Bethel World Outreach, huge church on Old Hickory, whatnot. They're only meeting online. So my assumptions are challenged a great deal because for some reason I tend to get the impression that all kinds of churches are open, and they are not. You know, there are 3 churches right across the street from us, Assembly of God, a Church of Christ, and a Lutheran church, which I'd like to share. I'm driving down the street, I'm driving down Old Hickory, week after week, and every time I fall for this in my own head. They have a sign like ours, but it's tiny. And the Lutheran Church says, "Worship with our Savior online." And every single time I think, does Jesus have a YouTube channel? And I go, oh, it's the name of the church, Our Savior Lutheran Church. I guess I'm simpler than I hoped I was. But the 2 larger churches are not meeting. The Assembly of God does meet right across the street. So for younger people, again, I really don't know. I really don't know what the answer is going to be. And this is the first time in my life when I have felt confident enough to say, nobody has a clue. And if they tell you they know what they're doing, they're fibbing. And they're fibbing to keep hope alive, but hope is not what's required to create the new world. Being excited about doing what you want to do and what you care about is what's required. So also in a good Buddhist tradition, I'm going to invite all of us into our practice, and don't be thinking about hope and hope it's going to be normal. It's got to be the new world that we create, which will be multi-generational, for sure. For sure. Is there anything else?
Jim Lewis asks, is the physical plant of the church financially sustainable at this time?
Thanks for asking the question, Jim Lewis. Is the physical plant sustainable at this time? And the answer is yes. Thank God. We're okay. We don't have an endowment of any kind, which frankly, very few churches do. I know of one Unity church that has a large endowment. It's in Minneapolis. Almost all churches have about 2 months of expenses in reserve. I could tell you that when I was at Unity of Bellevue in Bellevue, Washington, our budget at that point, and this is the year 2006, was a little more than $750,000 a year. And we were 2 payrolls away from having 0 money for all the years that I was there. Just 2 payrolls. That's 1 month. We're okay. We're okay. And I will share with you also, one of the reasons we're okay is that Acton Academy did decide to meet. So our school that is here, after the mayor's requirement for everybody to stay at home was lifted about 2 months into it, they did come back to resume their on-site education, and that was their decision. We are disinfecting the church every day that they're here for our safety, for the safety of us that worship here. We have plenty of legal waivers in place, and we have a revenue stream, praise God, from them. It's been a beautiful addition to this church. And I have to tell you, I don't mind hearing the sound of kids on a playground 3 days a week. There are not that many. It's not like a regular school, because you know it's a tutorial that is here 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But they are following protocols as dictated by the state, and they are only children under 10 with 3 adults. They're practicing their distancing. They're doing everything they need to do. They're following guidelines and protocols to a T. It's not church, though. And it's not our Sunday school. It's something else. So as long as we're not here, people my age are okay, because I know that we are disinfecting 3 days a week. So we're good. And because of the generosity, because of Acton, because of the ongoing generosity of our congregation, which is remarkable, we're good right now. And but who knows? Who knows? But we're blessed. We're really blessed. I keep a real keen eye on expenses since I've been here, and I feel confident that the physical plant is being very well run. And I personally, because I enjoy the business aspect of ministry, I know what every single thing costs and where the money is going, and we are cash positive right now. And one of the reasons we're cash positive is because we haven't replaced David Gumina, and we're going to have to do that sooner rather than later as well. But you know, for now, we're in a very blessed position. So thank you for asking. Thank you for asking that.
Kay Dennis asks, are church services going to be on Zoom also?
Hi, Kay. Are they going to be on Zoom? No. You know, it's an extra layer of tech that needs to be tended to, and we're just getting good at Facebook Live, and we hope to be getting a new camera this week, so it will be even better, because we will be doing Facebook Live forever. That won't stop. That will not stop. But we plan on not using Zoom for anything other than classes and prayer meetings, which I am doing, my classes. Good question. The Zoom thing that I said we would be shifting to would be the Wednesday prayer. We have been previously meeting on Facebook Live for our Wednesday prayer, because the folks that show up for that really would like to see each other's face, and because it's a very manageable thing that I do from my computer in my office, that I can absolutely do, and that's more like a contained class. So we'll be gathering for that. But Facebook Live for Sundays is how we will continue on forever. We'll be live streaming forever. Thanks for asking, Kay.
Yeah. Erica Elizabeth Weiss says, I'm 27 and I discovered Unity of Nashville through the Meetup app last year. I'm wondering, how can I become more involved with the church once we resume in-person gatherings?
Hello, Erica. You can become more involved once we resume by introducing yourself to me. I'm John McLean. I work here. And then we will have a variety of needs, I am sure, at that time. So if you do want to get involved, or we will meet and you can tell me what your particular interests are, and we do indeed hope to meet you soon. Thanks for asking that. That's great. I'm having my little Coca-Cola here.
I think that's all the questions.
Any questions? No more questions for the good of the order? Golly, I really do appreciate everybody. We do get good, one of the things that comments we got in the survey that was sent out is that how many of you really do appreciate the live feed, and especially now that we have music and we have the singers back. And if anybody is wondering, yes, we do have a license to do this. We've paid for it, so we can be sharing the music. That has been an issue for many, many years, and we're not cheating anybody. And so we're allowed to share copyrighted material with you. And bless his heart, I'll give my cousin Jeff a shout out, because he's in New York and has been listening to the podcast for years, so faithfully. And he is really digging having the music be a part of it. And so it has proven to be something of value, not just enjoyment, but real value as well. It gives people a full sense of what goes on here. Yeah. That's about it. Okay, thank you, friends. I really do appreciate you. You know, you can email me personally anytime. And the email, office, which is totally intuitive, right? What else is totally intuitive? unityofnashville.org. So it's office@unityofnashville.org, or Rev John at unityofnashville.org. And again, thank you for staying and for letting me talk at you for a spell. And the last thing I'll say, again, since we know it's going to be a while, and it's not going to be early September, because the current mayor's plan goes way beyond that, with the metrics as they are right now. I know when I was a child, if somebody had said to me, guess what, you don't have to go to church this summer, just sit home and watch it on TV, I would have said yippee. And I hope that you have a yippee feeling about that too, that you can be home in your pajamas and having breakfast and still get some meaning out of what we do here. So thank you, friends. Thank you, men, Garrett and Reed and Carter. Thank you for what you're doing for us at this time. And we will see you next Sunday morning. God bless you. Bye-bye.